Good evening. Welcome to my kitchen. I have just arrived from a 3-day intense weekend of supporting Kundalini yoga teaching, teacher training for a beautiful group of teachers in training, right? And I'm going to tell you right now that every time I do this, I'm just floored at the energy that the group brings and the beautiful people and how they shine forth and their souls radiate and open up. So thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for being present. Thank you for being you. It's been a crazy week, and I have been feeling like all sorts of craziness going on in my life and in my own psyche, my emotions. I'm going through life. How about you, right? So it happens to each and every one of us. It is what we came here for. So, if you're not being rubbed, if you're not being challenged, if you're not taken out of your comfort zone, you're not living, right? So especially when you've grown into these patterns and habits and routines, you need a little nudge once in a while. You need something to shake it up, shift it, change it, make things different. Because life is not about it has to be this way and it's going to be that direction. It isn't all roses, but it doesn't mean that's a bad thing. It's just how you perceive it. And if you say it's hard, then it is hard. If you say it's difficult, it is difficult. Hey, Tom. Hi, Diana. Hi, everyone. If you enjoy these videos, please share, because you never know. Sharing is caring. And when you spread the love through sharing these videos, you're sharing you. You're sharing the group. You're sharing a wealth of love. And you never know whose life you're going to touch, right? So reach out and touch someone. Even invite them. You just never know. And so, major life changes are happening. I'm excited. I have been going through my own growing pains in a lot of ways. I've been comfortably challenged in what I have become accustomed to because it's been a while, right? Life has to go, hey, it's time to change. So this past few days, especially, we had this full moon. And for me, myself, I've been seriously diving deep within and having to be confronted by my emotions and my belief systems and my patterns and everything that was part of the way my life is unfolding is kind of it's jarred a little, but it's good jar. And here's why. Because when you're in a meditative state, when you're aware, and this is the reason I tell you got to tap into that breath. Master your breath, master your mind, you're going to master your life. Am I going to tell you it's difficult? No. That's just a construct of the mind that things have to be difficult. Breathe into it. Embrace it as it is and allow it to unfold and allow it to happen. Again, when life throws you challenges or what you may perceive as challenges, they're actually setting you up to be stronger, to be more courageous, to step into your personal power, to be who you came here to be. This is part of life. And if you're not getting it, then something's missing. If you're just going through the humdrum of life, going through the motions, and you're not present in the moment, because again, momentum is created from the moments. Moment to moment creates momentum. And the more present you are right here, right now, the more your life will unfold with a blessed ease and grace, right? So here's the deal. Full moon, Taurus moon. The moon was closest to the earth. And if you didn't feel your emotions ruffled, well, maybe you're doing well. I don't know. But I tell you what, it usually bubbles up things to the surface. Your emotions come up for healing. And whenever you feel discomfort or dis-ease, that's the opportunity you have to work on healing it. And actually, I want to bring it to the word healing. Let's call it integrate. Because healing implies that you're broken and that you're not already perfect where you are. It's not that anybody needs to be healed as much as we need to integrate all the parts of who we are to create the wholeness of the being we are, right? Pieces of us are scattered, right? And so when pieces of us are scattered, that's where we think we need healing, but we just need to reintegrate those pieces of ourselves to become whole again. The oneness comes from being whole within, and that helps others do the same. So again, it's always going to start with self. Patience starts with self. I have my personal mental challenges, but the beauty of all the meditation and the practice that I've put in over the years is now I actually can sit there and watch the thoughts erupt, watch them unfold, and go, wow, this is the mind that would have gone that direction. But because there's this pause, I don't get caught up in the negative mind, because you have three minds. You've got the negative mind, you've got the positive mind, and you've got the neutral mind. It should take you 9 seconds to make a decision, and here's why. Because it should take only 3 seconds in the negative mind to evaluate the negatives, right? And then 3 seconds in the positive. And then the 3 seconds in that neutral mind should consolidate and go, oh, okay, so now I can weigh the sides, and here's my decision. And if it takes you more than 9 seconds, then you're stuck in one of those minds. Food for thought, right? And by the way, it's dinner time and I'm hungry. But truly, it's about mastering the mind, and it's going to come back to the breath. It's always going to come back to the breath, because the breath is the prana, the life force, that sustainer, maintainer. And without the breath, the prana, you wouldn't exist. And when you wake up in the morning, that should be the first thing you thank yourself, you thank all that is, that it created you, to breathe in that life force, that prana into you. You're not just breathing in. That doesn't even take thought. You're being breathed into. That's a gift. That's a blessing. But how many people take the time to witness it, receive it with gratitude, appreciation, and true value and love? And when we do that, again, where attention goes, energy flows. So the more you appreciate, right? What is that? Appreciation grows. Everything your attention is focused on is what you bring to yourself. And it always has to start with the mindfulness of being present in the moment and appreciating again, so it can grow. Because where attention goes, energy flows. And if you're focused or fixated on something that isn't working for you and still wondering why it's still happening, the definition of crazy is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So if you're used to doing something that hasn't served you well, and you're dissatisfied in your life, and you're trying to find a way to, bring more joy into your life, why not focus on what brings you joy? Why not be more present in the joy that you do receive when you receive it? Again, bringing it back to the moment, bringing it back to the breath. That's love. That's self-love, and it starts with nurturing yourself. And when you start nurturing yourself, nobody else can do it for you. Only you can do it. When you go within, you no longer have to go without and rely on others or circumstances or conditions of the way you feel it should be, because it's coming to you. It already exists within you, so you don't have to go without it. Right? You don't have to go outside. You don't have to go grappling for something that doesn't exist. And so even for myself, and every time I go through different shifts in my life, because shift happens, people, shift happens. And you have to be open to it and prepared to witness, receive it, and integrate it into your life. And when you do that, it's like, oh wow, the more I step into my courage, into my personal power, the more I receive a stronger courage muscle, right? But I receive my own reward system by those happy hormones that have been released within the body. So whenever you step into your personal power and you do things outside of your comfort zone and you shift your life, you do something different that you're not used to doing, you create your own internal reward system. It's physiological. You release the oxytocin and all these happy hormones into your body as a result of doing something different. And it's not always going to be what some will call easy as much as it's an adjustment. And the only reason it feels difficult or challenging is because of the mind. And the mind is what dictates a lot of what we do. It tries to protect us. It wants to keep us safe and secure, so it'll go into the worst case scenarios. And the reason it does that is because it perceives the previous experiences and dictates through those filtered lenses of, we've already had this happen, it feels similar. And if it feels different, see, again, that's the fear of the unknown as well, right? And it takes a little bit of like coaching yourself through it. But the more you do it and you remind yourself, I've been here, I've done this, I've got this, right? And that's why we have the group. Because if you are going through something, just reach out, post your story, share videos. We love to see you go live, especially because we like to see you. We want to know you. And it's so much more tangible when we can actually see a video with you on it, right? A lot of water, keeping hydrated. And so, yeah, I'm in a place where when I now see something bubbling up to the surface emotionally for myself, I know for myself it's the journaling. It's going back to, okay, let me journal through this. It's very cathartic for me. The more I write it down, the more stuff comes up, and then I'm able to process more. Instead of going to reaction, which is a construct of the mind, you'll react to things because the mind, boom, thinks it's on top of it, and it ignores what really you feel in the heart. Quite often, the question is, do you respond from the heart or do you react from the mind? Because the heart doesn't necessarily feel emotion that the mind has created. There's a total disconnect on that. The mind has created this surface emotion and their triggers, whereas the heart really, it's very neutral and it sees love in all. And it just lets the mind think it knows what's going on. So yeah, this weekend was very tumultuous with a little bit of watching myself and my stuff coming up, but it was beautiful too, because here's what I see. When things are rubbing me, or if I'm feeling like I go through waves of depression, I go through waves of questioning myself and my actions and what I'm doing and getting caught up. My mind can be very strong in a negative sense, but it can be positively negative too, and it's like, oh my gosh, why am I going there? Why is my mind even processing in such a what feels like chaotic monkey spin, the tail, chasing its tail around? It's because of the old patterns that I've encountered, the old environments, the experiences, the belief systems that I'm still working on reprogramming. But now when I see it happening, I'm like, this is an opportunity to shift, to change, to do things differently. And so I'm embracing every moment, as I always do now, more so than ever before. When we go through these waves, you got to ride them. You've got to have faith in yourself and trust that you wouldn't be here if it wasn't meant for you to get to that bigger picture, to what it is you want, wish, or desire. Like if you have been craving a certain thing in your life, but you haven't gotten it, well, you have to also question, what is it I'm doing to resist it? You can say you want this, but what is it that is going on in the background? And it takes a lot of inner work, and it's sitting with the meditation. It's really humbling yourself and asking, am I treating myself the way I claim I want to be treated? Or am I showing up for others the way they need to be shown up for. But again, that's always going to start with self. So when you work on your self-love and your self-care, you give others permission. When you're patient with yourself, you can extend patience to others. If you're agitated by something, it will bubble up with your encounters and your relationships and anybody that you interact with. If something starts out bad in the morning and it just keeps on, we say that the domino effect. If it started out bad in the morning and you didn't make a point to shift and set that intention to be in a good state despite whatever it was that happened, laugh at yourself. Come on. Change it up. Find a way to get into a happier state. Find a way to change your mental and emotional physiology that's going on. And sometimes maybe you want to go crawl back into bed. And if you can, maybe you can. You do it. I mean, there's no right answer. But the more mindful you become of your thought patterns and behaviors, right, the more you're able to adjust. The more you're able to show up for yourself and others. And you're not just reacting to people, you're responding with them. The reaction's more of a closed fixed. The response is, I'm extending a hand, an offering. Kindness matters. And the kindness has to start with self and that forgiveness too. Because quite often, when we become reactionary, we'll get upset with others when really it all started in here. It didn't start with the other person. Right? There's always a trigger that creates this domino effect, this, unfolding. And again, it's the attention. Where attention goes, energy flows. And so if you're already in a mindset that, oh, that's horrible, that happened, then it keeps happening in different ways to keep that snowball effect going on, right? And it just keeps growing and growing and growing. So this is the power of setting an intention to your day. I'm going to have an amazing day. And that's exactly what will happen if you focus on what brings you joy, being present in the moment, breathing life, breathing prana back into your life, your breath, your life force. Even looking in the mirror and just saying, I love you. You're worth it. It's okay that we had a little bump in the road this morning, and that's all good. You know why? Because it made me aware that there was clearly something that could bring that to me. So if you have a trigger, it means something was still stuck within you. So like if you have a victim mentality, why does this keep happening to me? It's very easy for it to just keep happening. And so it's very important to exercise self-love, self-care. And so I'm very excited. I'm working with this Kundalini Yoga teacher training this year again, on top of me doing this Beyond Addiction, which really amplifies what I'm going through in my own personal inner world. Because with Beyond Addiction, I'm like full on in seeing my stuff, and I already knew this stuff and was coming up. And I'm like, goody, goody, goody. I'm ready to release it, because you got to release it to receive it, whatever it is that you're manifesting in your life, whatever it is that your journey is supposed to have and unfold for you, right? So one of the things I really appreciate, I really truly feel valued in my community, and that is huge. Not everybody feels value in their environment. Not everybody can find people who appreciate them and know that they are appreciated. But because I've cultivated so much self-love and so much work on myself, I like to give back. This is what we call karma yoga or seva. When you give back without the exchange of something in return, without something monetary, it's just, this is my time and I dedicate and devote it, because this community has given me so much through all of my own personal growth. And it's a beautiful blessing for me to be able to give of myself. And so Beyond Addiction is a program I'm taking for me for the second time, and it's more than just the idea of an addiction. We all have it, and it's right here, right? But the Kundalini Yoga teacher training is where I get to give back, as well as when I go to White Tantra in Lake Wales, when I go to solstice, winter solstice, which is a huge 3-day event of the White Tantra where we all come together as a collective and we do this amazing, like you're sitting in postures. You don't know what's going to happen, but it's strong energy. It's life-changing, and I always know when I'm coming close to it, I always get that little trepidation, like, why was I doing this again? Do I need to go? And I get excited. At that moment, I realize that means something big is going to change again, and I'm grateful for that. For me, when I feel the bubbling of discomfort, I get excited, and it's a mental shift for me. I do it because I'm like, if I'm feeling uncomfortable, that means it's a good thing. Never give up before the miracle. And a lot of times most people will give up before that so-called miracle occurs in their life because they just can't hack it. Their mind gets so caught up in that, I can't do this, I can't do this. But you just need to shift it and go, that means if I feel I can't do it, that's all the more reason I need to stick with it. Never give up on yourself, because you are the miracle. And what you think is a miracle unfolding in your life is truly just the way your soul has intended it from the start. We didn't come here to be boring and we came here to have fun. The mundane, it's all created in this human existence, right? I'm wearing all white. Man, I was laughing my butt off today. All weekend we've had moments of going within, deep meditation, and then moments of just laughter and fun and food, because we're all foodies here. And it's so pleasant because there's no judgment. It's embracing, which is why we created this group. We're all inclusive. We're all about being ridiculously raw authentic, right? What does that mean? It's not just about the food. It's integrating mind, body, soul. It's not just about food anytime. It is about lifestyle, living with ease and grace in the flow of your life. Going with soul flow. When you embrace that, it's not going to be the way you want it to be, because there's this whole perfectionism about visualizing what you want and how it's supposed to look, like how somebody should treat you. That is attachment. And that can actually be the cause of your suffering. Because attachment to anything is going to create suffering. Right? So I'm extremely grateful that I am able to go to these beautiful programs. And and I'm always reminded and humbled. And I really love, like today, for example, what really kind of lit me up was I got to be, and this happens, and I like this because I've been doing yoga for a while. I get a lot of compliments on my posture, a lot of compliments on when I do the poses. And so I feel very blessed, and it's very sweet to me when they say, Lana, come on, you're going to come up and you're going to demonstrate all the postures. So I was doing a lot of heart-opening postures today. And I could feel that was also bubbling up emotions for me. Because when you open the heart, and a lot of us are very protective of opening our hearts, when you open the heart, that opens you up to being vulnerable. And a lot of yogic postures, when you do them and you haven't been opened up to your own vulnerability, it will bring up emotions. Just like when you start to breathe fully into the deepest recesses of your core, it's going to bring up the grief, especially if you've been holding back, right? And so it was beautiful. I had fun. I had a lot of fun. I did all sorts of fun postures. And now I'm home after the long 3-day weekend. So I'm very excited. We have so much in store for y'all. I hope you're tuning in daily. My little escape this past weekend was mostly because it just didn't feel it was time to come live, and I figured tonight was a good night because you got to be in touch with you, right? And when you feel the time is right, that's when you need to be on it, right? Sometimes it's a little discomfort, but you just got to step into the personal power. So I'm feeling a little hungry, and I'm going to prepare myself some din din. I brought home leftovers. This is heavier than it looks size-wise. I got butternut squash in here, and some Brussels sprouts, and some broccolettes. I think it would be called rabe, maybe even. And there's peppers and cauliflower, and I think there's asparagus in here and some squash, and there's carrots and quinoa. So I'm super excited about that. And I hope you all have an amazing evening. And remember to tune in tomorrow night, because I'll be doing my journal hook'em, where I pull out my journals and I just read from a particular date. I don't know, maybe I'll go back a year, maybe I'll go back 5 years. I just pull out all my journals, and it's really fun because I get to see where I was at the time I read. And if you've never tuned into that, you might find it interesting. It might inspire you to start journaling and keep a log of what's going on in your life, right? So I love you all from the bottom of my heart. If you have any questions, you know how to reach out to us. Keep it raw, stay rad. I love you.